from the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel. This is a severe weather alert.
All right, it's currently 7:25 in the evening. Fred Gossage here along with Ben Luna in the Tennessee Valley Weather Center. Have new warnings this time in southern Tennessee. Therefore, in our viewing area, it's for all of Lincoln County. They're warning for the storms back into Giles County, Tennessee. Now, the National Weather Service in Nashville has not issued warnings on that. And honestly, that's probably the right decision because these storms just came across the Minor Hill area, and the strongest wind gusts we observed with the storms themselves, 34 miles per hour, which is just a little more than half of severe criteria. But there have been 45, 50 mile per hour winds and causing some tree damage on out ahead of the line of thunderstorms, and it might be causing them to issue warnings when they otherwise probably wouldn't because the storms themselves aren't producing the wind. We'll focus here on Lincoln County and eastern Giles County, where this new warning is. Now, Giles County is not included in the warning. Like we were talking about, National Weather Service in Nashville did not pull the trigger, and it's probably the right decision. But this is a county-wide thing here for all of Lincoln County. It also includes all of Moore and Franklin counties in Tennessee. And if you're in those counties, you can tune into our affiliate here on social media, Southern Tennessee Weather, with meteorologist Elijah Kirby. He will be covering those warnings. He covers Moore and Franklin counties. We cover Lincoln County in Tennessee. But it's from the storms back here to the east of Minor Hill up to Frank Ewing, moving east about 40 miles an hour. We'll zoom in and get our smaller communities here on Lincoln County. And I'll just call out some communities, but it's the entire county: Petersburg, Belleville, Howell, Boones Hill, Delrose, down to Taft, Bellevue, Fayetteville itself, Kelso, Flintville, Elora, up to Mulberry and Booneville. You're all in the severe thunderstorm warning here until 8:30. There is the concern for wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour with the line of thunderstorms. We just have not seen any evidence of that so far, not just with these storms, but with storms earlier. All the damaging winds have been just out in the clear air, well out ahead of the thunderstorms because the air is a little drier there, and you're able to mix down those wind gusts from 5,000 feet above the ground with a low-level jet downward with the actual thunderstorms where the air is a little more saturated than the low levels. We're having trouble mixing those wind gusts on down. So that's the situation with that. I still want you inside away from windows until the storms come through. Just got a report of a 62 mile per hour wind gust at the Muscle Shoals Airport. I will mention that those wind gusts have been a little questionable here the past week or so. They look like they've been running a little high, but that also looks like it may not have been with thunderstorms themselves either. We'll hit the DMA view button and just show everybody on the radar here. And we have the main line of thunderstorms stretching from now near the Lewisburg, Tennessee area down to just east of Minor Hill, and then down to just west of Athens, and then stretching down into the eastern parts of Lawrence County, Alabama, on out of that warning that's been in effect there until 7:30. There are additional showers and thunderstorms in eastern Colbert County, eastern Lauderdale County, western Lawrence County, Alabama, but those are not severe. What we're watching is this main line of thunderstorms here where the National Weather Service is popping warnings, and there's still a severe thunderstorm warning here until 8 o'clock for a large part of the northern two-thirds of Limestone County as well. There's also still a tornado watch in effect for North Alabama until 9 o'clock this evening. I can tell you now that the severe weather threat for Lauderdale County, Colbert County, and Franklin counties in Alabama, it's coming to an end because you're behind the line and you're switching to cooler air as more stable air moves in. It's going to be along and east of that line here, and we're watching Lincoln County, Limestone County, eastern Lawrence County, Morgan County, and Madison County here over the next hour or so. That's where we'll watch for a low-end severe threat, and there is a severe thunderstorm warning for Lincoln County in Tennessee. There is a severe thunderstorm warning for central and northern areas of Limestone County in North Alabama. Lauderdale County's moved on out of you now, even though there's still showers and thunderstorms. And the severe storm, that warning there over Colbert, Franklin, and Lawrence, Alabama, is now officially off the board. So we'll watch things very carefully. No signs of tornado development or anything like that. And again, the main damaging winds have not been with the thunderstorms, but have been out ahead of them, just the background environmental gradient winds. And some of that's been strong enough to knock down some trees and cause some power outages. We've heard of some trees down in the Hatton community in Lawrence County, Alabama. We've heard of a tree down on Alabama 157 blocking both lanes of 157 in Cloverdale in Lauderdale County. Not sure when they'll get that cleared up, and the crews are out to work on that. And then we've occasionally seen tree limbs and trees down elsewhere across the region. We've had trees down on power lines and such as far east out here as Jackson County, and you see how way far away they are from the thunderstorms. So the thunderstorms aren't producing the strongest winds. Those strongest winds are on out ahead of the storms, and I think that will continue to be the case. What you got for us, Ben?
Okay, on the severe thunderstorm warning for Colbert, Franklin, Lawrence,
They've just issued a new one.
they did, and they've got a considerable tag on it.
I see that.
And both of those, the Franklin, Lincoln, Moore, and the new one, both have TOR possible tags.
Okay, so let's stop the radar and let's focus on the new warning we have. I don't see why Eastern Franklin and Eastern Colbert are even included, because the storms are on out of the counties there and moving away. So I know they're under a new warning, but I mean, you can just see it on the radar. The storms are out and moving away. So the focus for that is going to be all of Lawrence County, Alabama, central and western areas of Morgan County, Alabama, southern Limestone County, Alabama, with that new warning. That's going to go, when is that expiration, Ben? That's going to go until 8:15. They are flagging 70 mile per hour winds. I think it's because of that report of 62 mile per hour wind gust at the Muscle Shoals Airport, but that didn't look like it was associated with these thunderstorms. That was behind the thunderstorms. So, I mean, regardless, I still want you to be inside away from windows, but honestly, I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but we haven't seen a whole lot of verification this evening, and things are looking very questionable here. A lot of this looks like just background gradient winds instead of thunderstorms actually being severe and producing winds, which, wind damage is wind damage. It really doesn't matter at the end of the day, but in order for us to be able to call out communities and track things like that, that needs to come from severe thunderstorms. We can't, it's physically impossible to do that from an overall background gradient wind that's not even driven by thunderstorms, that's dozens and dozens of miles wide, that covers whole counties. I'd be here until next Thursday on Christmas Day calling out all of those small communities for you. So just generally, as the wind picks up ahead of this, whether there's thunderstorms yet or not, be inside away from windows and stay inside away from windows until we get these storms out of here over the next hour to hour and a half, because it's not taking the thunderstorms themselves to produce the strong wind gusts. They're happening away from the thunderstorms, and that's the main message. I think if we were to play semantics and be really technical, the better idea here would probably be what they call a high wind warning, where it's just the background gradient winds instead of severe thunderstorms. But the severe thunderstorm warnings do get your attention a little bit more, and that may be why they're doing that. Ben, do you have any more reports going on?
No, there's nothing new from the weather desk this evening. I've been tracking and in communication with several of the area EMAs, and other than a few trees down here and there, and mostly those are old trees, there's some minor street flooding. And I say that with respect, because we're not seeing just widespread pieces of roadways washed out. Low water areas that typically flood when it rains heavy. Yeah, we're seeing that tonight. We've seen that in Lawrenceburg. We've seen that in Pulaski, which Pulaski will flood if you pour a bottle of water on the street. And so, especially in now southeast Giles down toward Elkton, points toward Ardmore, and then back over toward Prospect. Yeah, it's raining hard. There's a little bit of lightning. That storm's not severe. It has a warning on it once it crosses the county line, but everything else, looking at our sensor data, everything that we've got, and worked very hard to establish a network of these sensors across the area, have all registered below severe criteria this evening. And that's why we're not beating a massive drum about it, especially in areas that we've not talked about. Yeah, the wind blew and it rained a little hard in Murray County, Lewis County, parts of Marshall County. We mentioned Wayne County, Hardin County, we didn't see that much, but nevertheless, it's not the biggest severe weather threat we've dealt with all year, and we're watching. But like Fred said, and to reiterate, we can't call out every single place that it's raining and the wind's gusting a little bit, but we're here, we're watching it, and if that makes you feel better, then we'll continue to do that. That's what we're here for.
And we'll continue to break in as soon as we get new warnings. But I'll tell you, the main reason why we really haven't hit this hard is because it really hasn't deserved it. And we're not going to sit here and try to get clickbait revenue and things like that for attention and such. And, you know, I still want you to be inside away from windows, regardless of whether storms are coming in or not, because it has not taken thunderstorms to produce trees being fallen down because of wind gusts. The strongest wind gusts have been out ahead of the storms. But just because you see severe thunderstorm warnings on the board does not mean the world is ending. We want you inside away from windows. And if you're inside away from windows, you're going to be just fine. And that's not just for where the warnings are. Probably a good idea to go ahead and hunker down inside away from windows across the rest of Madison County, Alabama for the next hour to hour and a half, and on across all of Morgan County as well in our viewing area, because again, the strongest wind gusts have been well out ahead of the thunderstorms, where they've been 50, 60 miles per hour and knocking down trees, causing power outages, that kind of thing. With the actual storms themselves, 40, 45, and isolated 50 here and there, and 58 is the criteria for them to be severe. So inside away from windows, when you start to hear the wind pick up, and then let the storms come on through. And then there's probably still going to be some wind gusts over 40 miles per hour even after the storms move out, because we still have that pressure gradient. It doesn't have to be warm. There'll be cooler winds and it won't be associated with storms. But here for the next little while, it's just going to be windy across the area from west to east. And we want you inside away from windows. We'll be live with another update at 8 o'clock unless we get additional warnings to be issued. I'm not sure what they're going to continue to do with the warnings, because it's not a clear-cut situation where it's clear that we have severe thunderstorm warnings. They may just be using severe thunderstorm warnings to kind of get the message out about the winds, even though the storms themselves aren't really severe. So we'll watch it very carefully. The main message, warnings or not, we still want you inside away from windows until we get the storms and the wind to settle down, regardless of whether the winds are with the storms or whether they're out ahead of the storms. Just be inside away from windows. Don't travel unless you have to. Be careful if you do have to travel. And then here by 9 o'clock or so, I think all these storms are moving out, but will still be gusty with winds probably up to 30 miles per hour into the overnight from the pressure gradient. We'll watch it very carefully. Otherwise, our next live update is coming up at 8 o'clock, but should additional warnings be issued, we'll be here at a moment's notice. Along with Ben Luna, I'm Fred Gossage, live from the Tennessee Valley Weather Center. Stay with Tennessee Valley Weather. We'll keep you advised.
You're watching the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel.